Hello and welcome to a quick opening overview and very quick tutorial on how to use STRAT. Now, STRAT is a live and post-session telemetry and like data analysis software specifically made for sim racing. And I just want to go through some of its features today. So this is a fairly early build. This is like version 0.2, if that's what you want to call it. We're still a way away from like functionality that I want to have for version 1. So this is essentially the bulk of the UI. You can open sessions by going to the sessions folder. It should auto pull in at the minute all of your iRacing sessions. In the future, we're going to add like auto find for Le Mans Ultimate telemetry, for Assetto Corsa telemetry, and so on and so forth. For this session, I'm going to open up this IL15 Indy Next session at Brands Hatch, just for an example. So you'll see the little bar in the corner goes green when it's finished loading in, has some session information down here, and then this top bar becomes kind of your all-knowing bar, if that makes sense. So from left to right, you have the settings cog. This is where you can just tweak, at the minute, just units and your telemetry folder. It should auto-find this, but if for whatever reason you don't house it in My Documents, you can send it to the right area. Session browser we just opened. Live we'll get onto in a minute. The checker flag is currently a laps box, so this just gives you a basic overlay of all your laps. Here you have again another laps display that will become more apparent in a minute. So these are overlays for laps, so you can compare lap comparisons. And then here on the right hand side from left to right, you have a play button, a playback speed button if you want to play back your lap in real time. You have a distance mode, so you can go either time or distance as your y-axis. This plus button is to add parameters, and then in here you have all the different panels that you can add. So we're going to get started with the data trace panel. It'll autofill with these kind of basic things. All these will get pulled in from the sim automatically. Again, right now at the minute it's only really iRacing, but we'll be getting into adding more and more. So you can press P or you can press that plus button to bring up your parameters box, and you can add whatever you want really. So there's everything in here from like chassis information, so throttle, brake, steering torque, clutch, throttle raw, throttle brake raw, all that kind of stuff, all the way through to engine information. So you can have water temp, water pressure. That's going to be quite helpful for knowing your blanking and stuff like that if you're into that. Gear traces, RPM traces, all that kind of fun stuff. Speed, distance, if your sim outputs it, brake pressures, ABS, brake bias calculated. Doesn't work 100% yet, but we might get there. And then you've got all tire information, so everything from tire pressures, surface temperatures, carcass temps, which is going to be super helpful for setup work. And then wheel speeds, tire wears. Again, it's sim and car dependent whether some of this works. Suspension travel is a cool looking one. Obviously, quite helpful data there if you're a real damper nerd. Ride heights, damper velocities, so on and so forth. All this is all iRacing data. It's going to change obviously when you get into other sims. You can add hybrid information, so push to pass. I think it's not in here yet, but I did have a working model to get like ERS battery and stuff like that working. That's obviously coming in an update not too far down the line, hopefully. So that's your what's called a trace, an analysis trace, whatever you want to call it. You've also got a track map that should sync up. So, okay, I lied. It doesn't sync up. That's work in progress. I had that working and now it's broken again. So that's fun. This is a numbers panel, so you can display essentially any of these parameters in just a number. So if you want to have, I don't know, gear, for example, you can just bring up gear and it's going to show what gear you're in. And there's no real limit here. You can add, battery voltage, coolant level, speed, distance. That there's no limit. I don't think to that. You can add whatever the heck you want. The next is called a min-max panel. So this this hasn't really got that much functionality at the moment. It's more just a nicety to have going forward. I think with my grand plan for this software, this is going to get to a point where it could be quite helpful. But right now, it's just a cool little thing. So if you were a real life data person at this point, you could add water temp and oil temp. We'll just use them for 2 examples here. So they have live readouts, the same as these boxes on the left, as water and oil temps. But if you hit configure, you can then go configure min maxes. So you can say if your maximum water temperature was 70, you can put 70 in here, and if your minimum was like 50, you put 50 in there, and then that's gonna go red. And then you can also say flash when trigger if you want to like really make it obvious that you've gone over. And then just to give you an example here, let's turn that off because that's annoying. Let's to give you an example here. Let's just say your over's 100 and your under's where are we at? 75. That's going to now go blue. You can configure colors here, so you can make that green. So green is good. Everyone knows. There you go. Happy days. Oh, why is that flashing on? And then you can also have on off as well. So if you want to configure your like push to pass to be active, you can say, green is active, and that's all good. What else have I got in here? You got your fuel, calculated fuel. This is a little bit of a work in progress thing. It's mostly functional, but there's some ironing out of data streams and stuff to get done there. And then again, a real quick and dirty time monitor, like GUI, if you will. Not perfect, but not awful either. So let's get rid of those for a minute. Let's add in, just for visual sake, let's add in another bunch of parameters here. So let's say you wanted damper velocity. It's quite a fancy looking one. And then you wanted to have your tire pressures. Okay, yeah, there you go, that works. So what you can also do, this doesn't work 100% yet. In fact, it's not in this build, so ignore it. In future, you can go in here and you can configure ranges. So if you wanted to have multiple info streams in one box, you can right click and say, I want my tire pressures to be in the top 50% of this, and my damper velocities to be in the bottom 50% of this, and then it will automatically configure based on that. So that's quite good. This will obviously, like I said, go in and show you can go lap by lap. So happy days. That's a bit fast at the minute. I need to tweak that, but you get the idea. Quite simple, quite easy. You can then go in and overlay laps. So if you want to overlay your fastest as red, you drag it into there. Then your laps before you can drag in like so, and then your overlays. So everything becomes one color. So you have to kind of configure these boxes to kind of make sense if that makes sense. But you get the general idea. So at the bottom you have pages, so you can have, I think at the minute it's like up to 7 or 8 pages before this stops. Great. This is called a workspace, so you can go in here and you can save workspaces. At the minute I haven't got a functionality where when you exit out of this, it asks you to save it. So bear in mind that if you spend a bunch of time on this, just go and save it manually. That's something I'm adding kind of as soon as possible. And then the feature that kind of took the longest to get going here, let's get rid of this, is the live panel. So at the minute it's auto configured with iRacing telemetry. It should work out the box with iRacing. It's as simple as hitting live, and then it brings in all the live data. As long as the sim's running and as long as your car's running, it's gonna find that. So quite helpful. The track map's a bit janky. That's still a bit of a work in progress. Yeah, that is about that. So if you like jump into iRacing, for example, you can, if I just literally pull out and go for a very quick spin, let's move this over here so you can see some live data, but also see the car on track. So yeah, I can prove I'm doing something live. You can see the data kind of reacts with throttle here, and then I have to play this on a controller while I film for this because it's just easier. So you can see the data's reacting kind of live to what the car's doing. Oh my goodness, don't spin it. Oh, just hit the wall. That's not going to be great for the damper trace. This is surprisingly hard with a controller. I've never played iRacing with a controller before, and there's probably a reason for that, to be quite honest with you. My front wing's damaged. Everything's damaged. It's all bad. I just picked like the hardest car. Actually, I didn't. This is one of the easiest. It's just hard on a controller when I'm not used to it. just wanted to show you on the back stretch here, if I can put my foot down without upsetting the game, you can see how the data traces will scale live. So that should give you a real basic overview. The track map draws as you go. I'm not going to be able to finish this lap of Indy here because I'm not good enough with a controller, and people have got things to do with their lives, so no one needs to see that. So that's your live data, and that's more or less the bulk of it, to be honest with you. It's not the most advanced bit of software yet, but I'm trying to build it into something that's going to be fairly sensible. If you're using it and you want to submit a bug report, you can do that here. It will send through a bug report to the GitHub repo. Happy days. And then I think that covers most of it. For example, this is the space I started working on. Oh, I did get ERS battery working. Okay. So it's all, you know, this is just how I have it configured. There's a bit of a test page at the minute. You have like live telemetry, inputs and outputs. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not crazy advanced yet, but I have quite a big mental roadmap of how I want this to get at some point in the not too distant future, if that makes sense. So you can go on to Patreon. There's the whole idea here is this is always going to be free. I don't really want to charge for this, nor am I really all that bothered about charging for it, to be perfectly honest with you. So as you can see here, this is the Patreon I made for it. It's nothing crazy, honestly. Like I said, it's going to be free for everyone out the gate. The way I have it configured at the minute is that STRAT will be free, but then if you want like advanced access to builds or anything like that, then you can pay like £2 or £3, whatever, and get, you know, a week advanced access to some of the more advanced work in progress features. But like I said, everyone's going to get access to everything. Nothing's going to be locked behind a paywall at any point. It's all reasonably straightforward. I'm not out here to turn this into a full-time job. I just want to be in a position where I can to make this tool really good, and hopefully one of those tools that the community really likes using and can find useful. I think if I can turn this into like a good spotting tool and all that kind of stuff going forward, that's kind of a good spot to be in. To download, you just have to go to the page. We'll use the alpha here as an example. Go down here, you can hit the download attachments, and then at the minute it's all kind of not packaged super fancily. So you literally just open the exe and it'll open Strat, and away you go. So version 1 is a slightly more simple version of what you guys just saw me play with. Version 0.2.0. So this is what 0.01 is. You see, it's just a bit more primitive. It's not quite as fancy as what I was working on there, but as you probably gathered, it's still all a little bit work in progress. So this is just a slightly earlier build. Okay, that doesn't want to load. That's not a good example. There you go. So it's the same functionality. It's I'm just getting used to working on the software. So that is the long and short of it. So yeah, if you want to support someone on Patreon, I think it's like I said, it's free. I think the minimum to get the beta build, the slightly advanced build at the minute, is like £3 if you're interested in that. If not, I get it. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Any questions, please just leave a comment or whatever, and I will try and answer. Thank you very much.